Oh, that's a new intro to the show that Kyle and I didn't even see. They just sprung that one on us. I guess we walked around doing a couple of things. Today we're talking about Ram's new EV, cheaper Teslas, and Delta's free Wi-Fi. It's a fun show today. We also have a special little wink, a little we see you to someone in the ASOTO community, in the automotive community. Actually, I'm going to flip to the end of the show and do that one first.
Do it.
John Frazier.
Real quick. So our producer, Isaac, we're like getting ready to show. He's like, you got your B cams, blah, 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 does the typical rundown. All right, I'm about, and he goes, and I was like, there's something about to come. And then he just hits it. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, it was time for a new show intro.
If you're listening to the podcast only and you don't get to see the like countdown intro, grab it on YouTube or LinkedIn or something like that. It's a cool little like vibe, a little bit of our history in podcasting and tomfoolery around the country. So
tomfoolery, more tomfoolery than podcasting for sure. For sure. Got a lot of great things going. NADA plans going to be released very, very soon. Like where we'll be, where you can come hang out with us. And if you're not going to be at NADA, we're going to be the place to follow during NADA. We have a full production team going, so you can get reports on what's going on, check some live streams, follow our Instagram story, and just kind of see what it is on the ground. We're going to try to bring the show to you. So if you're not following us on LinkedIn, follow us, search ASOTO. If you're not following us on Instagram, that's also a great place to be. And also, we've been leaning into Facebook a little bit too. So just giving you some prep. We're doing the work to bring the show to you if you can't be there. And if you can be there, you better come say hi, because we need to keep the community together. Speaking of keeping the community together, we don't have time for a full segue there. If you don't watch the show, we just had a new segue graphic that they just pulled off the screen before you saw it, Kyle. But hey, John Frazier, moving to the last story for the production team. John Frazier, service director at Paulding CDJR in Dallas, Georgia. He made a post and it said, it had a picture of Subway on a service counter, and it said, when your wife is a service advisor with 60 open ROs and staying late to catch up, you surprise her with a romantic Subway dinner date at work with a side of Excedrin migraine, which is right in the middle of the two Subway sandwiches. John Frazier, that's a boss move. That is quintessential of the auto industry. I love the family business. Are you her boss? How does that work out?
I don't know. I have no clue.
It seems like he's got the mentality, but we just want to say, for all the fixed ops people out there, John Frazier specifically, we see you. We see the work you're doing. Thank you for being an encouragement to us. All right, let's get into some news because of CES this week, Consumer Electronics Show, news dropping everywhere. And as Ford continues to make as many Lightnings as they can, and GM is getting ready to start pumping out Silverado EVs, Ram has finally called their shot at CES. Perfect reveal with the reveal of their EV pickup, the Revolution 1500. I got to say, it just got my vote for the coolest pickup EV. Even like the Cybertruck seems really cool. This is like,
I will say that thing is good. Beautiful. It's a good looking truck.
So check this out. They also use that extra time where they weren't making, like Ford, basically that truck looks like an F-150, except it's got some, Ram used the extra time to really lean in and like come hard. Features include, they put electric motors on the axles instead of the wheels, which is interesting. I don't know why I did that. They have a barn door tailgate that extends, the tailgate goes down, the barn doors go out and extends the bed, which is kind of cool. They have a steering wheel that retracts into the dash when you're in autonomous mode. They were able to get 4 inches more of length out of the cabin space. Look at that thing. Wow. Suicide doors to get rid of the B pillar. They don't know if that's going to be production mode, but it looks amazing. A powered frunk, so you put stuff in the frunk and charge it and all that stuff. Cameras instead of side mirrors. Tons of interior tech. And get this, the truck will follow you like a loyal dog. You're on a job site and you're walking around and you're picking up tools or you're talking to people it's kind of creepy. Like, like the truck, like you turn around and it stops and you start walking and it follows you and you turn around and it stops.
I think that's less creepy than the Roomba like device that it charges once it's in the car. It's like,
I don't think that's creepy because the Roomba is something. So you pull it in the garage and they have this little thing. I mean, I guess it's like a Roomba and it makes its way under like a charging port under the vehicle. Right. And it can just charge the car. So you don't have to remember to plug in your vehicle. So they're really pushing the whole experience. So here's a quote from Ralph Gills. He calls it brutiful, which is a combination of brutal and beautiful. I'll take that. So I don't know. Ram coming hard and expected to start releasing trucks in, I think, 2024. How do I not have that in the show notes?
I didn't even see in the article, but I'm sure it's around that time. So, you know, I here's the thing, like, this is a beautiful truck. I think they've done a great job. I think they've done a great job with the design. It follows a lot of the trend of like interiors of trucks not looking like trucks anyways. And so they've like taken that to the nth degree. And then it's similar to like, for me, whoever's kind of like not maybe last in this race, but a little bit later in this race is going to have the advantage of all the learnings of the ones that have come before. It's, I mean, now Apple is ahead of everyone, but really in smartphone technology, Apple was significantly behind everyone back in 2004, 2005.
That's right.
And so you think about that, like a little bit longer learning timeline is going to give some of these automakers a little bit more capacity to add more features and to create more experience around their trucks. So, hey,
we'll have to ask Todd Caputo what he thinks about it, because when we were showing him more reveals of cars yesterday on the show, he literally called one butt ugly. I was like, I haven't heard that term in forever, but I don't know which one it was, but I'll tell you what, it is hard to impress that man. But Ram has definitely impressed me. I'm kind of hard to impress when it comes to trucks, but I would definitely consider, if I was looking at the three offerings right now, that
without
Ram, I mean,
doubt.
Granted, it's a concept.
It's a concept. Yeah.
Little advantage when you're releasing the concept model. Like, yeah, I want that futuristic spaceship looking thing. It's got 24-inch rims.
Hey, just real quick before we get to the next story.
Yeah.
If you had to guess at some point in the revolution, you think the EV might be bolted or like stand out at some point in a commercial?
Yeah,
EV.
They were like, give me a list of words, ChatGPT. Give me a list of words that have the two letters EV in them right next to one another. Speaking of EVs next to one another.
Segue.
Check this out. In their first major move since appointing Tom Zhu to oversee global output and deliveries, we reported on that earlier this week, Tesla has cut prices again on its Model Y and Model 3 cars in China. Don't call it an incentive. Japan, South Korea, and Australia are all getting the price cut in an effort to boost demand for output from Tesla's Shanghai factory, which is their largest production hub. Guess this, a Model 3 now costs 30% less in China than it does in the U.S. market, which would be the equivalent of a starting price for a Tesla Model 3 at $33,000.
Yeah, and see, in China, there's a lot more competition with BYD and VinFast already having a big foothold there. So I can see why, there's a fear of loss of market share. There's a fear of drive down of people purchasing those vehicles. And but I wouldn't be surprised to start to see some of that incentive discount-ish stuff head to the U.S. market, especially as inflation continues to rise. Elon Musk has consistently said interest rates are affecting the affordability of all types of cars, and especially Tesla. A higher price vehicle in the market, and lowering prices is going to have to come if they want the volume and not just the profit margin.
Yeah, I mean, they had, fortunately for them, they had the room to cut it with the margin, right? Like, I mean, they did have a lot of room. Like, you look at a traditional OEM, like, where are you going to go, right?
Right.
But when Tesla's like 7x the profit on their vehicle, they have space to go. But that still, I mean, by far affects the bottom line a ton, right? And their ability, and we know their market share has dropped from, I think it was like 1.2 trillion, right? Way down to like a third of that, maybe less than a third of that now. So things are changing in the EV race and the EV market. And I guess that's just the way it goes. Speaking of going places.
Segue.
Super excited about this one.
I knew you would be. So Delta Airlines is leaning into their customer experience. Steve Greenfield, I don't think he's excited, actually. He's a million miler with Delta. He's like, you're giving the peasants the same benefits I have? Delta Airlines is leading in their CX by offering free Wi-Fi to every single passenger starting on February 1st. About 80% of their domestic fleet will offer the service next month, but obviously it's going to be available on more and more and more. The company announced at CES they've invested over $1 billion in the program and a partnership with T-Mobile. But here's the cool part. So I like it when companies are thinking CX, because they're also revamping their whole entertainment system so that it follows the passenger from seat to seat. Like, it knows your preferences, it knows where you are, it knows what movies you like to watch, and it even solves the problem of not finishing the movie between layovers.
Like, here's
get right back up.
Without a doubt, between layovers, between flights, like I'm always worried about, do I remember where I stopped on that movie? You know, because I got an hour 45 flight. It's a 2-hour movie and I can't get the last,
And how crappy is it going to be to try to scrub to that part on the movie's interface? Oh, it's the worst.
Well, and here's the thing, like the other piece that they've said is that they're going to do it from the time you board the plane to the time you get off, which is a really big deal because you got that 25 minutes from boarding to takeoff that a lot of people are just like sitting around wondering what to do, twiddling their thumbs. And so it's a genius play. And then, I mean, shoot, when you connect the data of the in-flight experience to the person,
let's
the
go.
monetization of that is not just the travelers; it's actually the data connected to that. So,
Data,
and
the attention. Oh yeah, they are, and they're also talking about leaning into a very lucrative, these airline credit cards. I just got my first airline credit card, by the way. I need to get that status. I can't be like Steve Greenfield and get all the miles. Like I got to cheat the system. I have to get miles from buying like gas and like dog treats and stuff. So I don't buy a lot of dog treats. I buy kid treats. But they're going to be connecting their Delta American Express credit card with the booking platform Resy, which is owned by American Express, to really try to link up and coordinate things like food delivery when you land or when you get to your hotel, ground transportation. So they're trying to say like, hey, when you fly Delta, we know it's a little bit of a premium and Delta flights aren't the cheapest, but they're going to be like, you're really going to enjoy the trip. So we love seeing hospitality and transportation. Unfortunately, for all of us going to NADA, no free Wi-Fi because it's before February 1st. Unless you're Steve Greenfield or a Million Miler. Who else always brags about that? Dan Moore.
An American and Southwestern in Dallas. Delta's like, we stay out of Texas.
Yeah, right. That's true.
I don't know what it is.
I don't either. There's a thing there. I don't know what it is. But speaking of Steve Greenfield, we're going to have him on the show on Monday. We're going to be talking through his 2023 predictions and kind of the scoring he gave himself for his 2022 predictions. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Meanwhile, we're going to be posting a lot of stuff. If you're not hanging out with us on the social platforms, join us on the social platforms because we put out a lot of other content, specifically LinkedIn, a lot of great conversation going there. But we're about to move into All Things Used Cars on Clubhouse. So if you're listening to the live stream, just go to Clubhouse. All Things Used Cars. We'll be in there in just about 30 seconds talking about, this industry.